I know I'm a little late getting this out. The content that I shot in Ohio took a little bit longer than I expected to get out, but here we are. Here's the MetaZoo Hour for March 12th. Kicking us off this time, we have Gamble Arts asking, will the arcade machines be able to be purchased by regular people or by arcade businesses? Mike replied with arcades, stores, and LGSs, so it's not going to be specifically an arcade machine. And this is pretty cool because it sounds like the LGSs that already support MetaZoo will have a chance to have the GlitchBit arcade machine in their stores if they want them, which could be another really interesting way for stores to promote MetaZoo and bring people into their stores. BuddyMac28 asks, remember those virtual pets that came on a keychain? Imagine that, but with Beasties. And Mike had said, actually, talking to somebody about this, the same people that are doing the arcade machines. So not only is GlitchBit working on the arcade machines with MetaZoo, they're going to be working on a Tamagachi-like device that we can have and walk around with in everyday life. This is something that a lot of people have been asking for over the past year and a half that I've been covering MetaZoo, so this is a huge update. And I do wonder with this if there's going to be multiple Beasties to choose from instead of, say, one pet. And Ethios asks, MetaZoo candies, and Mike responded with Halloween 2023. So this is actually pretty cool. We're getting hints of what the Halloween set could look like for this year. Last year we had the masks and the mini set of Halloween cards to pass out. And as we look to the older Halloween sets, there are cards that were based on candies. So it sounds like we could actually be getting the candy that they designed for those pages, which would be pretty cool because those were based off of real candy. O3Boo6C47 asks, if you do keep going after Grimm's Kingdom, is it possible to maybe see South America or an Africa block? Mike had said, absolutely. And if we take what we know about the future, we know that we're going to be moving into Yokai Island next, and then into Grimm's Kingdom, and after that is Cryptid World. So it's entirely possible that the rest of the world, South America, Africa, and everything that's not going to be touched on by Yokai and Grimm could be part of the Cryptid World block. And I hope we do expand past that and actually have sets in the different continents, because I do feel like there are areas that are very rich with cryptid lore, and trying to cram that into one Cryptid World block could be very packed. Metakai asks, Fusion Earth auras for the Earth Tower aura promo, and Andy replied to this one saying, Fusion auras are very special and the experience of opening one from a booster pack should reflect that. So basically he's saying, no, that's not going to happen. And I agree with that. The Fusion Aura should be very special to the set and not part of a promo, in my opinion. Though I do love the idea that Metakai had put forward. Galeus JP asked, mystery envelopes at Earth Tower, and Mike said, yep. So the mystery envelopes were originally supposed to make their debut at the Water Tower. Obviously that did not happen. So the Earth Tower seems like is where the mystery envelopes are going to make their first appearance. Matt Baggs asked, native officially legal for Earth Tower? Mike says, yes. Now, as we're into spoiler season for native, keep an eye on all of the native cards that are going to be teased throughout the next month leading into the release. It's going to be very important to know what's in the set as you go into the Earth Tower. And while it does seem like there's going to be a very short span of time to get your native cards and then show up at the tower with them to submit your spellbook, pre-release events can happen multiple days before the Earth Tower takes place. So my suggestion is look for an LGS in your area that is participating in a pre-release event. I know that doesn't work for everybody, but other than that, keep up with the spoilers, understand what's in the set, and be ready to pull that during the gala. As we're talking about Earth Tower, Andy had said we're actually going to have more What's Your Passion at Earth Tower and all towers going forward. Wonder what it could be. Now, my guess is that this is going to be the medals that they had mentioned for towers. They didn't have the medal at the Water Tower. Those are going to be sent to the players after the fact. Originally, the tease around these medals was a partnership with Pin Club, but honestly, I feel like What's Your Passion is a better fit for something as special as the tower pins. Sam Squanch asks, has a location for Flame Tower been decided? Mike says not yet. A lot of people want the Flame Tower to be in Texas. There are a lot of players in that area, and Dallas was a huge event for MetaZoo last year. At this time, it sounds like they have not fully decided where they want the Flame Tower to take place. Gambill Arts asks, will print runs of SCP in Warstate around 50,000 boxes, or will that be raised to a higher amount? Mike says, we will see how native does and adjust from there, and that's really good because this isn't a flat out, no, we're not going to adjust. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I think that MetaZoo is really good at taking feedback and adjusting to it, whether or not they say up front if they're going to be doing adjustments like that. We saw this already with the reduction to a 50,000 print run for Seance, so it's entirely possible that they could either reduce or increase depending on the demand of native for future sets. Touchdown Bear asked, will there be an auction at the gala? Spoilers? Andy replied to this one with, there will be, but probably not for spoiler packs. This is kind of something we knew already. They had hinted at auctions happening for the gala, and the proceeds are going to be donated to help the tribes that are represented at the gala. MetaZoo Dean asked, next MetaZoo Foundation drop. Andy replied to this one as well with at the gala with eBay. So this is interesting. This could be part of the auction component, and this is the first time that we're getting a little bit of an understanding of what might be happening at the gala. If it's something with eBay, it does seem like those of us that will not be at the gala will be able to participate in some fashion. Moldy Potion asks, will we ever see the legendary Philosopher Stone represented in MetaZoo? Mike says maybe in Grimm's Kingdom. And this makes sense. A lot of people should be familiar with the Philosopher Stone, and if you're not, you might be familiar with the Sorcerer's Stone from Harry Potter, which is the same thing. The Mothhawk asks, any hints on the big announcement coming in September? Mike had responded with, let me go see, with the L, E, G, and O all in caps. So this does seem like a hint that we're going to be possibly getting a LEGO partnership at the end of the summer. And honestly, if that's true, that is huge. And this isn't the first time that LEGO's been hinted at either. We've talked about this in the past a little bit with some ideas like Love's Castle. Moldy Potions asks, will mini cards have any in-game use? Fourth walls, etc. Mike had said tokens, so it does sound like they're not really going to have a functional use in the game, but you can use them as tokens instead of the tokens from the core set. Spring-Heeled Maddie asks, MZO care package. Andy replied with, let's get some more MZOs first. As an existing MZO, I do agree with Maddie that it would be nice to have some kind of support for being an MZO and being an early MZO to the game. At the same time, I get it, and that's part of why I have the trivia segment that I do weekly to help introduce questions that you might run into as an MZO or as a player. Andy had said in chat during the MetaZoo Hour that our next big passport event will be at Comic-Con. The emojis here actually spell out NYC, but I think we're going to get it earlier than that at San Diego Comic-Con. San Diego Comic-Con is going to be a huge event where we unveil the book and the shorts. Happy Kitty 05 asks, are PFP boxes still planned to be out to people by the end of Q1? Mike had responded with, that's the hope, so we could be seeing those within the next 2 weeks. Andy then responded with, people are asking about PFP boxes and expecting specifics. Please try to understand this. There are 5,000 different cards in the set, one for each PFP. That is 5,000 cards we had to assemble, 5,000 cards that had to run through quality control, 5,000 cards that needed to be proved, and then 5,000 cards that needed to be produced and QC'd a second time. The PFP boxes are one of the most ambitious sets that MetaZoo has ever put forth, so I'd actually rather they have the extra time to ensure that it's going to be high quality. Stone Weenie asks, are the PFP cards being printed in-house by MetaZoo? And Mike says yes. I assume this is being done by what was announced to us before, Mothman Printing. And they're also doing the Kickstarter in-house now with the new holofoil pattern for some of the cards. So this is a really cool thing to understand, that the PFPs are going to be the first product that's fully printed in-house. Primetime Indie asks, can we get some native spoilers today? Andy says spoiler season starts on Monday. You can wait a day. By the time that you're watching this, we're probably 3 or 4 days into spoiler season, so if you haven't caught those, check those out. And I will have a spoiler on the 31st of March. Alias Ripper asked, when will the set names within the Yokai Island block be revealed? Mike then replied with, Yokai Island base set, Hell, Chibi, and Digi are the first ones. So there's a lot to unpack there. We know the base set is going to be the introduction to Yokai Island. It'll likely be some of the most well-known or common yokai and beasties from the area. It sounds like Hell could be underworld themed or something to do with Hell. And the Hell set should fall in October of 2024, so that'll be our Halloween set, essentially. Chibi, which if it follows the normal pattern for how these are released, should be the spring set for 2025. And I think that makes sense, and I think a lot of people are going to be very excited for a Chibi-based set. And Digi should fall in the summer of 2025 and should be a set based around digital monsters of some form. I do believe this has been confirmed to be a lightning set. Alias Ripper again asks, will we see recurring beasties in the Cryptid Nation block make appearances in the Yokai Island block? Andy replied to this one with, in promos possibly, likely not in the main set though, new block, new staples. Again, this is something I agree with. I think that the yokai block, it should be very specific to the part of the world that is trying to focus on. Now, as we learned from Dee's presentation, which if you didn't catch that, I do have that in a link in the description below, there are things like the Flatwoods Monster, which not only has ties to Braxton County, West Virginia, but also Japanese lore and Japanese culture as well. So it's not outside the realm of possibility that we could see some recurring characters, but maybe not in the way that we currently know them. Mike followed up to that with "You'll learn to love again, especially with as many cool yokai we have to explore." Japanese lore and yokai lore is very vast. They're not going to run out of ideas here. Mike Jones asked, with regards to the MetaZoo Japanese set, will the artwork be different, and will it continue or be remade from older sets, or will it have its own style? Mike responded to this one with, "They will be slightly different, more manga stylized." Now I'm curious if this means that the yokai block itself is going to be more manga stylized, meaning that blocks could be designed to be stylized in the cultures that they're based on, or if the Japanese cards specifically are going to be more manga stylized. And if so, that adds another level of collectability if your art is different between the English set and the Japanese set. I know for me, I'm incredibly excited for yokai. We've seen some of the Beasties already on postcards that were released last year, and right now we're a little over a year from getting these Beasties, with 7 Seas being next spring. Well, that's everything we had to cover for the MetaZoo Hour this week. If you didn't catch the Water Tower update, you can catch that right over there.